No Further Information, a podcast for ice road truckers and cops. This episode will be mostly about cops. A few years ago, we had 2 ice storms in a row here in Texas. Talk about ice road truckers. Try pursuing a motorcycle on slick roads in 10-degree weather. At that point, you're fucking free to leave. Thank God the guy stopped. Tried writing a summons. It's like I was holding a fucking shake weight. It was so cold. I'm pretty sure he'll miss his court date because of my fucked up handwriting. All right, sir, sign here. Your signature is not an admission of guilt. It's a promise to appear. Contact the court within days or warrants will be issued for your arrest. I'm really excited for today's guest because we're going to help him out by solving a mystery. If you're a loyal subscriber, you'll have heard last week's episode where I asked the fans for some suggestions. Our guest will surprise you with his roots and his journey. Like so many others out here, he does what he can to keep a stiff upper lip and still take care of business. I also know where he lives, so I plan on moving onto his farm to live that sweet, sweet farmer life. Are there any Asian farmers? In Asia, I guess, right? Do they wear cowboy hats? Anyway, here's Officer Bob, a city cop, who's going to marry a nurse. It doesn't get any more cliche than that. Well, other than an Asian cowboy.
I'm Officer Bob, and I'm a police officer in the state of Texas.
How long you been on the job?
A little over 3.5 years.
And what would you say is your most difficult challenge?
My most difficult challenge, are you talking about call-wise or just the job in general?
Penis size, getting chicks.
Penis size is very difficult just because of how,
that weird spot.
Yeah.
Right there, right, that I've seen, right? No, I mean, hey, being a cop in 2024, has its ups and downs.
So I think the area I work in is, the people aren't really too bad. Of course, Dallas is going east, and with that, you do get, worse people coming that way.
Yeah, so what's happening is everybody's fleeing the big cities, right? And the suburbs are getting the money and the businesses. But with that comes...
Yeah, the crime, the DART trains, obviously the Section 8 homes, that brings a lot of crime.
The Cambodians moving in with their Section 8 housing. And so is it fair to say that you've seen an increase in crime in your area?
Yeah, I could say that.
And what kind of crimes are we talking about? Property, assaultive?
Yeah, we get a lot of property crimes, and then here and there, just we're getting all the homicides, and but it's mainly property right now. I think the assaults and the school. You can tell the area I'm at, the schools are getting a lot bigger, and they're accepting more people. So,
does your area have an ISD?
No.
And so you guys are the school police.
Pretty much.
De facto,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to address this. Sorry. But my listeners can't see. This isn't a video podcast. My guest is swole, man. He's a big dude. And does that help you in your job? Do people see you like, I'm not going to fuck with that guy? Do people challenge you?
Well, I think just because of the height, they see my height more than they see the muscles. But I feel like the muscles... kind of helped me in a way just because I have a beard right now. If the beard was gone, obviously I look like a baby face.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at this little bitch, But, with the muscles, at least, they're like, oh, okay. Hey, he's probably been around the block or two, but, it helps.
Does your department allow beards?
Yeah.
Okay, so a recurring theme on the show is compensation, right? If you are not necessarily physically fit, I'm raising my hand, then you have to be good at the law, good with people. If you are short, and, no offense, But so it's all about compensation. It's a kind of like, I always describe it as like you have a character in a video game and you're tweaking those sliders, right? Agility, speed.
Yeah.
And a lot of fights. I don't imagine you get into a lot of fights.
No, not really. Not at work. I mean,
Wait a minute. Not at work.
Well, back in the day, I'm from a rough area.
Is that right?
Yeah, so where I was from, always being small, the short guy, you had to compensate, and a lot of that I had to fight. So as I got older, the gym started taking place, and I guess the bigger I got, the least amount of problems you get.
And there are two competing principles, which is yes, you're getting stronger and more swole, but also I think with getting more fit and hitting the gym, there's discipline and maturity, and that maybe helps you balance out. So yeah, you look big. I mean, I could probably take you.
Oh,
yeah. No, but as you getting, but also too, right? There's maturity. There's a command presence.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have that command presence, especially there's always somebody bigger and better.
Always.
No doubt.
And everybody, they need to. I think everybody needs to get their ass kicked at least once in their life.
Yeah, at least once.
You said you came from a rough area. How did that inform your desire to be a cop?
Honestly, where I'm from, probably if you asked my high school teachers, my coaches, and everything, nobody would have guessed. I didn't even guess it. Pretty much, I did fire and EMT first, and
that's what's wrong with you.
Exactly. I didn't want to sleep all day.
Right. That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah, I play with a bunch of guys' junk and stuff,
Yeah.
But
wait, you stopped doing that?
Yeah,
okay.
I had to be a cop.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, just a little less.
Different departments.
Yeah.
Hey, man, different policies. And so, you were saying when you were high school, least likely to be a cop. Is that where?
Oh, yeah. Just pretty much my whole life. If you would have asked anybody, I was a troublemaker, and they called me a rat. Pretty much, not as in a snitch, but where I was from, it was like, oh, troublemaker. He's from the mud, kind of
rough and tumble childhood.
Yeah.
Maybe unstable family life a little bit.
Yeah, my dad was an alcoholic, and all that kind of.
And so, all right. So you come from this tumult. You do find, we're fucking joking around, but you find a little bit of direction in public service. EMT, and then so what makes you say, well, this sucks. I want to put on a gun and chase people.
It kind of reminds me of sports in a way. You get that adrenaline rush, chasing people. A lot of people like to say, oh, I've always wanted to save people. Well, it didn't start off that way. It was just the more like the adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get to wear a gun. I get to chase people, but, it just, at the end of the day, it's, like I said, it started with that. But now, as I'm growing in my job, now you do get to see that that's a benefit of being a cop and having the gun and the badge. Is, you do get to save babies and kiss ladies, that's part of it. So
wait, all right. Anyway, so I know you're relatively newer on the job, but I look at it as a metamorphosis, which is you start with like, I want to do all that cool shit and slide across car hoods. You get into it, you find out, oh, it ain't all about that. There's a lot of bullshit. There's a lot of liability, a lot of risk. And then as you parse more into the real, like the battered women and the abused kids and the dope and the blood, you do for a good cop, you do undergo this metamorphosis of, wow, like I do have a higher purpose. Yeah, it's cool to have a gun and a shield, but right, and you have a higher calling.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you see it, the more you want to help out those families, those kids, the women, the men, just people in need. You just, like you said, the more you see it, you want to start helping out, and it's not about the gun and the badge. It's about helping at the end of the day.
When you talk about, because my dad was a piece of shit too. And I'm putting it on a record here. Dad being an alcoholic, and then now you're going to domestics. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to the, fucking loser dads, the deadbeats. And how does that inform your approach to these calls? I mean, are we a little more empathetic to the second half? Are we a little more empathetic for the kids?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the call. I can at least give direction. A lot of people, you couldn't tell by my looks. People think I'm privileged. They think I'm white. I'm not even full white. Nobody'd guess, I'm half Mexican. And they look at me like, oh, you've been privileged your whole life. I'm like, well, hell, you don't even know where I came from.
Right.
And so I can explain my side, and, I can at least give them direction on which way to go. So it helps me, empathize or,
right. As soon as people see, and I'm going to use air quotes, a white cop, you've lost all agency. You didn't suffer. You didn't, and cops are fucked. Damned if they do, damned if they don't. If you're black or if you're Latino, you're a traitor.
Yep.
And if you're a white cop, well, you're just a racist white cop. So, you go to these jobs with these little kids. You can, I don't know, you can sympathize with them a little more, right? Dad's a fucking deadbeat or a drunk beating the shit out of mom. All this turmoil, and maybe you can connect with the kids a little more.
Yeah, it helps you connect with kids. Luckily my dad never beat my mom, but he was verbally abusive, and it helps. I can be the person they can cry to at that time, at least connect with, find common ground to get them to open up. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Can you give me an example of when it worked?
My brother, he died of a drug overdose, right?
That's true. Is that a fact?
Yeah, fact. Yeah. Died of a drug overdose. He was 20. I was 17. Come from a poor family. He dies of a drug overdose, and pretty much right after I graduated high school, I pretty much had to help pay for his funeral. So right before I went to college, a couple months before, I worked a construction job, saved up enough money to help pay for a funeral, turn around, go to college. While I'm in college, I get robbed, gunpoint. They take all my books. I have to come back home, work, just to pay my apartment so my parents don't have to. And so, just growing up from the struggle. Well, my brother dying from black tar heroin, seeing kids or people using drugs, just last week had a guy pretty messed up. It was a welfare check. He's at Walmart, and they're like, oh, hey, this guy's just acting weird.
Inside or outside?
Outside. I'm not the responding officer. Well, they come to the PD. I realized, okay, let me go downstairs, talk to the guy, because this guy, he didn't get arrested, but I knew they found the black tar heroin and some Xanax pills. So I'm sitting there, I'm talking to him, and I'm trying to just get his side of the story.
Why did they bring the subject to the station if he's not under arrest?
So we had the one that had the black tar on him. That's the one that got arrested.
And this guy was
just there. He was the driver, but he was outside the vehicle, so they couldn't connect him with anything. He didn't have the drugs on him. So I connected the two. I'm like, hey, look, I know you're a user. I can tell.
Sure.
I've seen users. Yeah, and so like I said, my brother died of using.
Did you share that with him?
Yeah.
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 Is that a form of therapy for you to talk about it?
Yeah, it helps me. Like I said, relate and just kind of release what I've went through. I get to explain to others, like, hey, I know because I had to be the strong one for my family.
Yeah. When
my brother died, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I was mad. When my parents would talk to me about it, I would pretty much shut them up because I couldn't. I didn't want to be weak. I didn't want to be weak around them, and I had to turn around and just, when they weren't seeing me, I was bawling, and I couldn't never release it. So this is a way for me to give back.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can express my feelings this way.
And you still have to be the strong one, right, for the people.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're constant. You had to shoulder this burden when you were 17, 18 years old. Wow. So I really want to talk about that, but getting back to this guy. And so is he receptive? Is he?
Yeah, he was very kind,
yeah, I've been using, I got a problem. And
yeah, exactly. Like he's, the same old, I've been clean, I haven't used in a long time.
How long is a long time?
Yeah, exactly. I said, how long is, February 16th.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, okay, well, that was the last time? Yeah, other than that, I was clean for 6 months. All right, well, what made you use?
Right.
Well, I used February 18th too.
And they know the days.
Exactly.
You know
exactly.
I mean?
That's my thing.
Yeah, and here's another thing. I used to teach in Texas, our law is the Health and Safety Code, and that's the drug 481 Controlled Substances Act. I used to teach that in the academy, and I used to tell the students, I say, cops get into this thing where like, oh, fuck that doper, he's a fucking doper, fuck him, fuck. I'm like, is it the person? Is addiction a real thing? Which it absolutely is. And are we, is it our job to cast aspersions on these people? So what I was, the point of my story is, like making this connection of like, hey bud, like you recognize the behavior. We focus so much on mental health, right? Mental health now, mental health. But like what's putting these people out on the streets, it ain't just, epilepsy, it's fucking dope.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, recognizing that drug substance, man, you have this powerful tool almost. And, I mean, you can tell our listeners, have we ever met?
No.
We met 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever.
So I hope I'm not, overstepping my bounds, but you're honoring his loss by like, I don't know, taking his memory and making this great thing. You're using his memory to maybe, I mean, if you could save one fucking life, just kind of sharing his experience and your experience. And I think that would be a worthy cause.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think you're going to do in your career? What is your interest? Drugs, tack? He looks like a tack bro. We need to get him a tack bro sticker.
I'll take one.
Yeah.
No, right now, just since I'm still fairly new, I just want to learn patrol.
Finding your footing.
Yeah, pretty much just get patrol, just get it all around, be good all around, and obviously not DWIs because you don't work enough of them. But
because there are none of them in this particular part of Somalia. Like I wonder how Somalia. I wonder like what their PD, like how they handle like DWIs. Like, sir, can you please like step off the camel? Like, like, sir, like it's a criminal offense to have an open gourd of alcohol, like on your camel within the, before the first hump. Yeah. Between the two humps. Like, sir, is this behind the rearmost passenger? All right, I'll stop. Craziest call you've been to on patrol?
I've been to a few crazy calls.
You saw some ass. You saw some ass.
I saw a lot of ass. I saw titties.
Tell me about. I would like to. I'm raising my hand. I would like to hear about some ass and.
So
titties.
it wasn't any good. It's never good ass or titties when you.
Why do we never go to
exactly
Giselle Bundchen's house?
Yeah.
Why is it never like Beyonce's house?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Miss Knowles, like I'm sorry. Here's your report number. Oops, titty popped out. Like
Yeah, no, it's never good.
When did you get to see titties and ass?
So I mean, we were eating breakfast. It's Saturday morning. It was something that we always did. All right, like, hey, let's go.
You don't have to explain to me that cops eat food.
Yeah. Local cafe we did every morning. Well, Saturdays are normally slow.
Yeah,
and we're sitting there.
Gotta love day shift.
Yeah,
fucking love.
It's great.
Lazy fucks.
Fucking great. And then so we get a call, and it's we get a lot where I work. We get a lot of bullshit. Karens.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
Shots fired.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. No, fucking somebody.
Yeah.
Exhaust.
Yeah.
So anyways, we said, hey, there's a green truck chasing this car and a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what the fuck? Whatever. It's in my beat. They send me.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, all right. Let me go to this bullshit call. I'll be back. Get in the car, I'm heading that way. And
don't touch my hash browns.
Yeah.
I want
hey, motherfuckers, put that shit to go. Let's put that shit to go. Okay, just in case. Well, hell, we're getting there, and now it's, hey, we're multiple callers. They say this truck's following this car. He's pointing a gun at her. What the fuck?
Okay.
All right, now it's starting.
Something.
Yeah, so now I'm speeding up, and I'm on the far east side of town. I have to go west. So I'm like, shit, I got to get my beat before I get in trouble. So I'm hurrying up, and I'm getting down there, and next you know, we already had somebody close to the PD, and they're like, oh, hey, they turned towards the PD. Well, the truck was following the girl. Anyways, the girl pulls into the PD. Right. She's butt-ass naked.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
I don't see her yet, I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I'm like, what am I looking for? Hey, it's a green truck.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah. I was like, well, I'm like, fuck, okay, green truck, at least I can do that. Right. I'm driving and I see just one green truck. I'm like, fuck, this is the green truck.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, so I turn around. And
how many green trucks could there possibly be in Texas on a Saturday morning?
Mm-hmm. And then as I'm busting a U, my buddy flies right past me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we get there, or he flies behind the truck. I end up calling out. I'm trying to get on the air and on the radio.
People won't shut up.
Exactly. The female officer. The girl's butt naked. She needs an ambulance, and she's saying he strangled her. And
like, bitch, okay. You know what we're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm over here, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
I'm like, shut the. And I'm sure on the on the camera, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And I'm flipping. I'm getting pissed.
I'm going to come to your fucking house. Yeah. Like,
Afterwards, me and her hashed it out. I told her to shut the fuck up, and she told me to shut the fuck up. But we're friends. We're great friends.
No, I get it.
And so, anyways, I'm over here, beep, beep, beep. And then so I call out the wrong place. Which we're doing a felony stop. My buddy's already got him out at gunpoint. And I'm trying to get out. I'm like, update us to beep, beep. And I just.
Right, yeah.
And so, anyways, I'm call out the wrong place.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what the fuck? How'd y'all get all the way back to the east side of town? Yeah. And so it was just quick. And now we get this guy at a gunpoint. Anyways, he's like, oh, we're like, put it in park. I can't. I'm a motherfucker, put it in park. I can't. It's messed up. I said, throw the e-brake on.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Guy gets out just in pink shorts. Nothing else.
All right.
I'm like, this motherfucker on PCP or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, he's about to start stripping.
Right.
I'm like, hey, turn around. No, he's freaking out. You're going to shoot me. I'm like, dude, turn around. Just listen. No.
I'll shoot you if you don't turn around.
Once I saw the slides kick off, I'm like, oh, here he goes. We chase this guy down the tracks. And the whole time, I'm still calling out the wrong place. We're at so-and-so. Beep. We're at so-and-so.
Yeah, there's a train track in the Buc-ee's parking lot, in the Chipotle park. When did Chipotle get a railroad track?
Yeah, exactly. Ran down that track forever. Finally, we get the guy. The girl was butt-ass naked, and apparently he was beating her since 4 a.m.
Jeez.
Since 4 a.m. This is like 9 or 8:30 to 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, he's been beating me. She say he was grabbing her by her vagina and her butt, and was dragging her in dog shit and piss from outside since 4 a.m. He was choking her so much that she urinated on herself, and just multiple times, and she was beat to hell, covered in dog shit, piss, and anyways, get the guy for the strangulation, the assault, all that. Later on, just to find out she's gonna drop the charges, but like I said, butt naked, just covered in all that since 4 a.m. It was like 5 hours straight. He beat her, saying the neighbors wouldn't help out. That's why she took off, and she didn't have anything else. But he was just dragging her and like. But yeah.
And was there truth to her claims? Was she in fact covered?
Yeah. The female officer that met her there at the PD went over there, took pictures of the whole house. Like, looking through all the pictures is like, oh, okay, it happened, but she dropped all the charges. And
what does the defendant say? Like, oh, we just had a little argument over the TV,
Oh no, he was drugged out. He wasn't cooperative. He was about to try to jump off the bridge.
Your initial impression was right, and probably some kind of dissociative anesthetic, right?
Yeah.
And who got to put the handcuffs on?
So the sergeant at the time, because as soon as he was about to jump over the bridge, he grabbed him.
Oh, nice.
And so
what the fuck were you doing?
Fucking chasing. I was chasing his ass. He jumped off the tracks, ran around we got a wooded area. We have a wooded areas. And
you're still at the dry cleaners. Behind the dry cleaners.
Yeah, I'm still yelling the wrong place. I'm like, hey, somebody go to the wrong place. We left our door. We left our doors open with our ARs.
Look for the golden arches.
It was a shit show, but it was
literally.
Yeah, literally.
What's the most memorable call or arrest you've ever had? Something that sticks out to you, something that you remember to this day.
So I've been on a call with, I get there and call comes out, son has a knife to mom's neck. He's been acting crazy. He's not listening to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
First officer in my beat, and it's in my beat, so I'm like, okay. Well, hell, at this point, I'm brand new rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Just got on my own. I get out. I still remember. I can still see it to this day. As soon as I'm getting out, I'm still checking. I was like, I'm making sure I have one loaded. I don't have one in the chamber. I always do, but I don't know why. I'm like, I'm checking just in case he's got a knife. You know, I'm not going into a house without one chambered up, but I just make sure. And as I'm looking, all I hear is the screaming. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta go. Somebody's life's in danger, and now I know it's just me. And Dad, as soon as I get there, Dad runs out. He's in the kitchen. He's in the kitchen. I'm like, okay, step out. I'm trying to, everybody's yelling. I'm telling Dad, step out, and that's just me. So I'm like, get out of the house. And as soon as I'm walking in the door, brother, which I don't know it's brother at the time, I'm raising my gun. I'm like, hey, show me your hands. And he's, officer, don't shoot my brother. I'm like, okay, where's he at? And he's over there, don't shoot my brother. I'm like, dude, get out of the house. Like, I got to get in there. And I don't know where the hell he's at. And he's like, he's over there, just don't shoot my brother. So finally, I'm like, dude, get the fuck out. And Dad's finally like, dude, get out.
Right, to the son.
Yeah, and he's like an 18, 19-year-old brother. And as soon as I get in the kitchen, I see brother right behind Mom. And so I, obviously there's a big old island. I have my gun. I'm like trying to explain it. Like, I don't see the knife though.
Right.
And I'm telling Mom, I said, get over here.
He's standing behind Mom.
Yeah, he's standing behind Mom. So I don't know where the knife's at.
Right.
And I'm in the kitchen. Through the kitchen, there's another door, an open door, and it's the laundry room. And I can see the laundry machine there, the washer and the dryer behind him, but he's behind Mom. And I'm like, ma'am, get over here. And she's like, don't shoot my son. Don't. Now I have brother behind me as well saying, don't shoot my brother. And then now he's pulling out his phone, recording me. And, I don't know what the hell brother has behind. So now it's just me and I have all this chaos. Like, oh, don't shoot my brother. And I'm telling this lady, I'm like, get over here. And finally, I just had to reach over, grab her, and yank her. I'm like, fuck.
You were close enough to.
Yeah. I just slowly made my way.
At some point, right?
Yeah. I was like, okay, nobody's responding. It's just me in this house. I got to do something fast because this can go south.
You didn't have help on the way?
They were on the way, but I didn't know where they were. It was just everything just happened so fast. Yeah. And so I finally, as soon as I grabbed her, I threw her behind me. That's when my sergeant walked behind me. He's like, what the hell? And so I get brother at gunpoint. Finally, I throw cuffs on him, get everybody outside, find the weapons right there next to the island, which, you don't see it. It's kind of tunnel vision. Hell, it was right in front of me the whole time, but I didn't even know. Tunnel vision. I'm just worried about Mom and what's behind me. I'm just kind of like, that's all I'm focused on. And the knife was right there on the island.
And within arm's reach?
If he would have made...
It was
probably a couple good lengths.
Yeah.
A couple arms reach, yeah.
And if we can all see this in our mind's eye, they're in the laundry room. It's there. It's on the counter island in front of you.
Yeah, they're closer to the knife than I am.
Yeah. But at the same time, you're close enough. You're inching in, inching in to the point where you could finally grab her. And let's say, hypothetically, he had lunged for the knife. There would almost be enough time for you to have a good enough reaction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, perfect. At least we'd be going hands-on. By the time I grabbed Mom, I would have been between the knife and him. And him, yeah.
And was he violent, compliant?
No, he was pretty compliant. Yeah, it's just a mental. It was
CIT.
All, yeah.
And that just becomes an APAL.
Yeah, that's exactly all it was. It was an APAL. I've actually dealt with him a few times after, but
Is that right?
That was the worst one we had, and I could just tell by his demeanor and what he was saying. It just something wasn't right. He was off his medications. He wasn't. Apparently, he wasn't taking all his depression, anxiety, all the pills. The schizophrenic, he was schizophrenic, and so he wasn't taking his medications. And they said he hasn't been taking them for months. And I guess it just kind of, yeah.
Why does that stick out to you? That call?
I think it was just the first time I realized it was just me.
This is just me.
It was just me, and I was like, and when I heard, I was like, when you hear somebody screaming. It's like, I have to make entry. I have to go say, no matter what, I'm putting my life second. Because or obviously first, but I had to go save her. I have to make.
I think you got it right the first time.
Yeah.
You are putting someone else's life over yours, man.
Yeah, because I don't know what I'm getting into.
That's a mind fuck, right? Yeah. Especially at a young age, especially new.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck I'm doing?
Exactly. I was like, shit, I might have to shoot this guy. I was like, but I mean, I was going to do it because I'm going home. But at the end of the day, I didn't know the house layout.
Sure.
I went into it blind.
We affectionately refer to these as shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
And you know how you eat a shit sandwich? One bite at a time. And then that's exactly what, the walking in, inching in. I want to talk to this brother who was fucking recording you. You assholes called me, right?
Exactly.
And I'm doing everything in my goddamn power. I'm alone, by the way. Everything in my goddamn power to make sure nobody's hurt. You want to start recording me? Like what? Just in case I shoot your brother?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm recording.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to like that when they'd start recording me. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, I'd stick out my chest. Like, yeah, I'm recording you too. Or my trick was, don't tell them you heard it on this publicly available podcast. But when they'd start recording me, like Facebook Living me, I'd like shine my flashlight directly into the lens. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, am I fucking up your live feed? So what's a good DWI story? You said that your dad was an alcoholic, and do you have some feelings towards alcohol?
No, not really. Like
Good.
I said, it just to me, it's just I can't feel sorry for yourself. That's just like I said.
Oh, so you're a DWI expert?
Oh, right? Hell no.
Yeah, I'm
a day walker.
You get. Oh, you're on day shift.
Yeah, I've been days my whole career.
How the fuck?
Yeah.
These fucking.
Yeah, the producer actually. He had to do a DWI for me.
Yeah, these fucking spoiled millennials.
I was like, hey, you just took a refresher. Get that for me.
What was the last? I'm picture it was mine. Yeah. What was the last DWI you took?
That one.
Yeah,
with the producer.
You never took another DWI since then?
I've done SFST. I haven't actually had a DWI. Done some SFSTs.
In what context are you administering SFSTs and not getting a DWI? Just not enough probable cause? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. He had the HGM, but I didn't have not enough of the clues throughout the whole SFST. Got him blowing into the
PBT.
little, zeros.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
But
so you thinking what, drug driving?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I'm not a DRE or anything. And
well, you don't have to be.
Well, I couldn't. After talking with my sergeants and everything, I was like, hey, this is what I have. I was like, what route do you want me to go? And they were like, if you blew zeros. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable with them driving. So at that point, obviously we didn't let them drive, but I was like, I didn't have enough to, get them anywhere else.
And so, let's say, let's look at this from a couple of angles. I'm gonna insert myself and be a lazy day shift sergeant, and you ask lazy day shift sergeant, I think you might be intoxicated, but he's blowing all zeros. I really don't feel comfortable letting him drive. What do you think I should do? Day shift sergeant looks at his phone, right, and he sees that Jeopardy is on tonight. The new Jeopardy, right? Not with God rest his soul, not with Alex Trebek. Yeah, what's that fucking Blossom chick? All right, anyway, of course he's gonna say, "Well, let him go."
Yeah.
All right. So then we ask ourselves, we know that intoxication can be caused by non-alcohol, right? Mm-hmm. If the guy's high on fucking weed, high on blow, high on coke. So we run him through the battery. Because there are 3 categories of drugs that cause nystagmus, right? Mm. And this guy could have been under the influence of a depressant, an inhalant, or a dissociative anesthetic. And he can maybe have, you said he had HGN, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that might be a DID drug. And did you run him through the rest of the SFST?
Yeah, I did the whole thing.
And how did he perform during the walk and turn and one leg stand?
He did everything else good.
And he performed well.
Yeah.
And then he blows all zeros. What made you feel like, I don't feel comfortable letting him go? Or did he have a bad vehicle in motion, a bad kind of personal contact?
No, he drove. Everything was fine. Yeah. It was just he just smelled like alcohol. Mm-hmm. But obviously it wasn't that. Like, he smelled like alcohol, and I looked behind him, and we see some open Dos Equis.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, why do you smell like alcohol? Oh, I drank last night.
Sure you did.
And I'm like, okay, which I'm just trying to figure out, like, what the hell's going on. Right. And like I said, first the HGN and everything, I'm like, oh, okay, definitely intoxicated. Uh-huh. And then after that, he just performed well on everything else, and he just blew zeros. And I was like, man, I'm just not comfortable. I was like, because if I let him go, I was like, and if he kills somebody, that's on me.
Yeah. And do you tow the car?
So at that time, he already parked it in a private parking lot. And so at that point, I just stayed there until somebody picked him up. And
is that right?
Yeah, because he was pretty cooperative, and, I pulled him over for speeding. And so I was like, okay. Yeah. All the different clues got me. And I was like, you know what, let's do SFSTs.
What was the last refresher he's been to? You know, like, when was the last refresher you went to?
Shit, it's probably about a year and a half ago.
So, 53% of his career, like, no, message to you and all potential listeners, all 18 of them, but, go with your gut, right? And as you go through your career, going with your gut is going to save your life. Going with your gut is going to get those lucky calls where you find the dope in the gun just because it's the way that car looks. I've never seen that car. It looks funny. And I would have been okay with you hooking that, because who the fuck am I, right? A guy with a mic. But I would have been okay with you hooking that guy up and sticking his arm. Because if we have the same, let's say hypothetically speaking, you told him, I don't feel comfortable with your driving, and he's like, are you gonna arrest me? Because if not, then I can leave, right? I'm free to leave. Now your foot's kind of in it.
Yeah.
Hook him up, take his car, and stick him. And I guarantee you, because, PBTs are unreliable. They can be affected by time, temperature, weather, and radio frequency interference. Anyway, the point is, confidence and get out there. And, all right. So, not a DWI expert. No. Let me just write that down on my invisible notepad.
Put that on my DOR.
What, NRTs, not responding to training. Dumb rookie shit mistake. Dumb FTO shit.
Yeah. I got plenty of those.
Certain people who you may have caught shitting on the, shitter or no, that's not the story. The story is that the two of yous went to, so I'm pointing at my producer, the two of yous went to a city ordinance violation. And then I only heard his side of the story where, oh boy, here was, now, what was the story? Of course, my producer doesn't have a mic, right? So he can't defend himself. I mean, he can yell, but he's not going to do that. But, what was it? Something about like this lady started slapping him around, and then she went like this. She went and like she licked her finger and then put it up his butt. And He's like, "Okay, ma'am, you're free to leave." Right.
Well, he got a little roused, and then I had to show up. And one night he noticed I was around.
Yeah, and you had to. You know what? Penis diffusion. Like you had to. Two penises are. I always say. Oh, you know what? That's where the expression "two heads are better than one" comes from. No, so can you tell me? I'd like to hear that story from your point of view.
Is this the one with the
construction truck?
The construction
blocking,
truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently somebody didn't know it was the fucking law.
Yeah, he was blocking the alleyway.
Yeah.
Well,
well, let me research the city ordinance.
So I kind of vaguely remember. I mean, I remember most of it. If I may mess up on a few details, but I remember showing up and I was talking to the officer at the time, and I'm asking what's going on. Well, I can tell the guy's starting to be an asshole. And, he's like, okay, well, I'll move it when I'm done. And, that's fine. You try to work with people. But after noticing he's catching the attitude and was like, didn't really care to move it. And I guess he was blocking a lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was blocking a lady from backing out of her driveway. He's like, hey, you're going to have to move it to the front. And at this point, he's kind of arguing with us. And, this officer, the producer, was kind of giving in. And I'm like, no, fuck that, dude. We're the law. At this point, like, he's violating the law. We're still doing him a favor by not writing him a citation or towing him. He's impeding traffic,
Absolutely.
And so we're trying to work with the guy, and hell, he's being an asshole. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's tow it. If he doesn't want to move it, we'll move it. And, that's pretty much all I remember. I know he was giving, your producer some shit, but we weren't going to let that fly.
And then he basically says, see if you remember this, because I have a point to make here. He basically says, and I know we give him a hard time, but he basically says to the producer, he says, yeah, fine, I'll move it, because you let her walk all over you. You a bitch.
That's exactly what he said. He's like, yeah, sure, since you're going to let her walk all over, or something in those lines. Yeah, pretty much oh, okay, yeah, you work for her.
Right.
Yeah.
And my thing is like, I don't understand. Tell me about these people. Okay, you already breaking the law.
Yeah.
But we try to work with you, right? Then when we finally say to you, hey, bud, as a common courtesy, this young lady is trying to back out of her, or whatever, old lady, trying to back out of her. Can you just move 11 fucking feet up and just let her out and everybody can fucking go on? Not only does he still continue to resist, he has to be a fucking dick about it when he finally complies. Who are these fucking people? And when I talk to people like this, I used to get upset, right? And I get into these like oral arguments with them, like, listen, you fucking cocksucker. You know what I can fucking do to you? But hearing your story, honestly, they don't fucking know where I've been, meaning the cop. They don't know what call we just went to. And here's the best part. They don't know anything about us. There's so much else out here in this fucking world to worry about other than, fine, I'll move my truck because you little bitch and you let her. You know what I'm saying? It's just who are these fucking people?
A lot of times it's selfishness, they think about themselves, they don't think about the others at the time, and like you said, they don't realize what calls or what we're going through that day. Hell, it might not be our best day, but at that time, we're still trying to work with them.
It's never my best day. I'm always in a bad mood. You mentioned, domestic violence calls and, going to those and sometimes making a connection. Was there a particularly stressful domestic violence call that you can recall, or one that resulted in an arrest with some satisfaction, got the guy, found him, returned to the scene?
None that I can think of. Sometimes I have a bad memory. When the day's over, I'm done being a cop a lot of times, so I don't really try to remember the calls. But
yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I guess I had one where stepdad was choking mom and apparently choked daughter right beforehand.
That's nice.
I get there and I hear stepdad and mom, wife and husband now, arguing, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And so I separate everybody, have my partners talking to the stepdad, and I'm the only one, the whitest looking guy there, but I'm the only one that speaks Spanish. And so of course what happens when they don't want to talk and nobody's speaking Spanish. No hablo. And so so I interview mom and she tells me exactly what happened, and I go to my partner and was like, hey, what did he say? And he's like, he speaks Spanish only. I'm like, okay, cool. That's when I turn on the Spanish, and he's like, oh, English or Spanish? He's like, oh, only Espanol. I'm like, okay, boom. Start talking to him in Spanish, and he's like, oh, shit.
He's like, actually Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. And so, pretty much he admitted to, to putting his arms around her, but it was only to push him off. Yeah. And, sister and mom's got the same story. But, I mean, that was one of the calls that...
So that becomes an impeding breath?
Yeah.
And he goes. He goes.
Yeah, right away. Yeah, and she, obviously he choked me so hard that I pissed myself, and, it was all that. She started blacking out. So, you got the impeding. And
yeah, absolutely. Couldn't breathe or whatever, loss of blood. Exactly. And interesting call about that is I found that in that type of dynamic, the, culturally Latino families and, a lot of times unwilling to prosecute or aid in prosecution, but sounds like she just fucking coughed it right up.
Oh, yeah. No, she was very Americanized. So she was just she's just very odd. That lady in particular was very odd. With the story she was telling me.
Is that right? What was odd about her?
Oh, she'd tell me, so she had I guess that daughter was just now 18, and she had another 13-year-old daughter, and she was talking about, when I went to Cuba or Dominican, Cuba or Dominican Republic, so one of the two. She was like, when I was over there, I let him watch my daughters, but he's always been hitting on her since she was 15. And she's like, but I still went over there for a year, and something was telling me, God was telling me that something wasn't right. And then they openly made jokes about their 13-year-old daughter's ass. She'd say like, oh yeah, my 13-year-old daughter would be bending over to grab something out the pantry, and we'd see him looking, and me and my other 18-year-old daughter and the 8-year-old daughter would be like, oh, we see you. I don't remember his name, but let's go with Mark. Oh, we see you, Mark. We see your neck breaking again. Making jokes. It was like a ha-ha. I'm like, no, that's fucking weird. That's his stepdaughters. And she's already said he's made a pass towards the 18-year-old when she was 16. like try to, and she was just like very, like it was okay and still in the relationship, but.
I would say this definitely falls into the odd category. This is NFI approved weird fucking bitch. Have you used the, I look white, but I actually speak fluent Spanish? Have you used that to advantage a lot?
All the time. And then they always hit me with, oh, how do you know so, your Spanish is very well. Like, how do you know? I'm like, oh, my mom's from Mexico.
Yeah.
Illegal. She was an illegal.
Yeah.
So.
I would just tell them, yeah, I had a lot of sex with Mexican people. Like, I like Mexican girls.
Yeah, they're my favorite.
As it so happens, you and I share a common trait in that yo also hablo español tampoco. And, yeah, no, but, I would use that to my advantage. But my story was DWIs. I was a DWI guy. And, I'd stop them, right? And, when they're Latino, right, they go, I'm like, oh, police, license, and insurance. And they're like, oh, perdón, pero no hablo en inglés, lo siento mucho. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I do this. I go, okay, well, no hablo mucho español también, pero soy policía en le paré porque usted no paró por la placa. Espere en el carro por un momento, okay? In un momento, one moment, okay? They're like, all right, SFST, right? Starting SFST. They're like, señor, sáquese de auto, por favor. Ven aquí. Pies juntos. Brazos a los lados. And they're like, the fuck? What happened to the other Chinese guy? That fucking stopped me, the one who didn't.
This motherfucker got a twin?
Right, yeah. Well, because we all look alike, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like, oh, perdón. Era otra oficial. Se llama Lu también. No es mi hermano. Es porque el apellido de Lu, oh, yeah, muy regular yo. Por los asiáticos. And the guy would be like, I must be fucking drunk. Right. So, you know what? Just, turn here.
I'll
you know what?
Consent.
Yeah, go ahead. Puts his hands behind his back. Like, just take me to jail. Vamos. And when you spring that on them, how does that help you? How does that? Because I imagine not a lot of Spanish speakers in day shift.
So, yes and no. Some they look Hispanic and they don't speak it. And then
the coconuts.
Yeah, the coconuts. Yeah, but
wait, what is he? If he's white on the outside,
they call me coconut. Because I guess I'm white on the outside, brown on the inside.
That is but that's not what a coconut is.
I call them Mexicans.
Right. Okay. I like that.
Yeah, Mexican but can't speak Spanish. Mexican.
Right. Yeah.
Speak Espanol.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I call them.
We've got the challenge to our listeners now, because on this show we're really good at coming up with new terms. So we've got to find what's white on the outside and brown on the inside, and that's going to be the new term. I promise my guest that I'm going to have that term for you.
I need that because they keep calling me coconut. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not a fucking coconut.
It's not. No, they've got that wrong. Obviously, I would come to your defense as a fellow Spanish speaker who doesn't look Hispanic. What gives you the most satisfaction in the job?
Obviously catching the bad guys. To me, it's just like the adrenaline rush. After you don't ever want it. You do want it easy, but you don't. If I go to a call, I want to make the arrest. I don't want to take the delayed report.
Mm-hmm.
Just making the going to an on-view arrest call. Family violence. Boom, get there. It's active, and you get to make that arrest. You're there. You get to do the whole thing yourself. You get that adrenaline rush at the time, and I think that's pretty much just making the arrest.
How does that serve? How does that serve you? How does that serve the victim?
I felt like at that time I helped them. It wasn't like you said. If it was a delayed call, what am I doing to help? I'm taking the report. I just took the report. This is just delayed information. You're making this a week later.
You're a PSO, basically.
Yeah. He beat your ass last week. Why you call me today?
Yeah.
But when it's an ongoing thing, you get to go there and it's active, and you get to help that person the worst time of their life. That's the only time we get called. The worst time of someone's life.
Sure.
And someone told me that in EMT. When I went to fire in EMT, they're like, nobody wants to just call you to call, because it's the best time of their life. This is the worst time of their life. You give them the time of day. this is when they needed you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And that always stuck with me since then. And so I was like, you know what? That makes sense.
So there's satisfaction in going to the call or even seeing something on view and getting instantaneous results, instantaneous gratification.
Yeah.
Do you have a story along those lines where you showed up and caught the guy, foot sticking out from under the bed, dragged him out? You talk about
yeah, we had the EPO, actually. I mean, I guess he wasn't like beating the shit out of her, but it was just one of those times they constantly get in fights, and it was younger female, and I knew, get there, the dog's all fucking aggressive and shit, and I'm like, hey, get your dog, I'm about to shoot your dog, We end up tasing the dog, or I shot the dog with a taser. Lady didn't listen. Finally, we're like, hey, we know so-and-so's at this house.
Was that effective?
No, I only got him one probe in its head.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
it was effective not to get him. Yeah, to get him to quit coming at me.
Yeah,
but,
I'm sure a barb to the head slows your roll a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
may not be.
She was pretty pissed and was like,
he puts the other probe up the dog's ass.
Yeah,
like, here you go, you little fucker.
Yeah, hey, bitch, we're gonna get your ass now. So, but no, we end up. Like I've just known the couple because I've been there multiple times.
The call is what? The call is
911 hang up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
she calls. So what she does, she does it the same. She did the same thing every single time. She call, I guess, to scare him. Be like, oh, I'm gonna call the cops. Call. Boom. Hangs up.
Right.
We get there. It was always a family violence. Well, this time he's got an EPO.
Right. From a previous family violence.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny as we're pulling up. I'm on the phone with my female partner, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, oh, that's fucking weird. There's a dog out here, not on a leash, and I was like, fuck, what if we have to shoot this dog? I spoke it into existence, I'm over here like, fuck, what if we have to shoot this dog?
What if we had to tase the dog up the ass, and then your partner goes, every cop who by the way, ladies and gentlemen listening, every cop who comes in here has to hit the mic. It's just a matter of. It's you speaking the dog. I'm
getting too excited about the dog's ass.
That's right. And ladies and gentlemen, he didn't hit the mic with his hands, just so we're all right. Eyebrow. You can't see my eyebrows wiggling. And all right. So you tase the dog in the asshole, and then she's there. She's female
pissed.
half.
She's pissed
about the dog.
Yeah, she's just pissed that we were there, and I'm like, dude.
Well, you fucking call.
Yeah, you called, but we didn't know she called. It was not one hang. I was like, but you do this shit every time.
Right, okay.
I'm like, what's your name again? She tells me her name. I'm like, well, get your fucking dog. I'm going to shoot it. Dog runs off around the block. Before we shoot the dog, she tased the dog. Dog runs around the block. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is my perfect time to talk to her. Hey, I dealt with you before. What's your name again? Oh, you can call me this. I'm like, no. What's your name? She gives me her name. I'm like, you know what? This matched the last call you called. It's like, oh, where's so-and-so? Oh, he left just a while ago. Boom. Okay. Well, he has an EPO. I knew that. Like, oh, well, so he was here. Okay. Gave me, suspicion that he may still be here. That's why she called. Well, as we're talking to her, the dog comes back around the corner. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, hey, get your fucking dog. I'm going to shoot it.
It's aggressive. It's
barking. It's just barking. It's coming at me and my partner.
What kind of dog?
It was a mutt, Heinz 57.
Yeah.
It's like
I've never heard that expression.
Because Heinz 57 are everything. Ketchup.
Is that true? Is that what Heinz? I mean, you're from fucking buttfuck Texas. Yeah. Is it true? Is that what Heinz 57 is?
Yeah, I mean, because you got Heinz 57. They make a lot of products, barbecue sauce.
I think it's a myth.
Ketchup.
I think it's a myth that they have 57 products. I think that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's a myth.
Probably
that's
why
a myth. Yeah, that's a myth. Yeah.
Well, they got a lot of shit though.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like mustard, relish, barbecue sauce, and ketchup pretty much covers the whole gamut. What the fuck else do you need in your pantry? The metaphor is well taken. Why don't we do, instead of Heinz 57 to describe something that's a mutt, why don't we just say a coconut?
Coconut.
No, anyway. So the dog comes back.
Dog comes back. We're arcing our tasers, I'm telling the girl, hey, if it comes at me again, I'm gonna...
Hold on, is that having an effect? Is the dog
No.
Is the dog putting up its paws like,
yeah,
my bad, bro? Like,
hey, shit, I didn't know you were like that.
Yeah, man. Like, I know about that taser. Yeah. Paws up, dog. Paws up.
I ain't doing
shoot.
Shit.
Don't shoot. All right.
Yeah. No. Oh, I figured the noise.
Sure. But this dog doesn't give a fuck. Right?
Yeah, it came at me one more time. I just, shot it. Yeah. Got it right in the head. She's pissed. you fucking shot my dog. I was like, no. I didn't shoot your dog. I tased your dog. I was like, there's a difference. It's like, we got animal control. Anyways, just hang tight. Let me go talk
She's technically correct.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. And so, I go and my brother comes out. I'm like, hey, I'm just talking to him casually.
Comes out
he's
from
like,
the house.
He's like, what the fuck? I'm
he
like,
comes out from the house.
Yeah, out from the front door, and I'm like, he's like, what the fuck? I was like, look, we had to taser dog. He came at us, but I'm like, hey, your sister said so and so is here. Is he still here? Oh yeah, I think he's in the. All right, perfect. I just talking to him casually. He's like, well, motherfucker's got an EPO now. Hey, come out the house. Well,
now, does she know he's talking to you?
No, she didn't know.
Perfect,
at the time.
right?
Yeah, so that's why I was just so casual.
So here he comes, kind of like unassuming, like, hey, pops his head out of the window, like, what's going on?
What the fuck happened to my dog?
Right, and then you say, oh, come here, Bob. You know, come like, hey,
I just shot it, but let me explain. Like,
also. Is Kevin here?
Yeah,
kind of thing, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that.
And just talk to him like he's a buddy or something.
Yeah.
Is Kevin here in the house?
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah.
He sure is. He's in the theater,
Yeah, he was just here. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, nobody go back in the house. And then I told him, I was like, hey, we'll get that dog back in. So she's trying to throw the dog back in the house. Well, there's a glass door. And at this point, she shuts the door behind her. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I thought she was trying to secure the dog, so I'm like trying to open the door. I was like, hey, if you don't fucking open this door, I'm about to kick it down.
Yeah.
And at this point, my partner, I told her to go to the back.
Go back. Yeah.
Just in case homeboy tries to run out.
It's just the two of you?
Yeah, just the two of us.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, I've already tased the dog. Well, at this point, I'm like, hey, I'm going to kick the motherfucking door down if you don't open up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's hearing us argue, and I guess she calls for me over the radio. And I wasn't paying attention because I'm over here thinking I'm about to kick this door down.
What's the female saying? So, no, fuck you. You're not coming in.
Yeah, she's like, there's no fucking reason for you to come.
Right, she's adversarial.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I was like, if you don't open it up, I'm about to kick it.
Where's brother?
He's back in the house, and he's kind of like, what the fuck?
He fucked off, right?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I ain't a part of this shit.
And now you have probable cause.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If I wanted to kick that door, and I'm kicking it in, there's an EPO, right?
Yep.
And so as soon as I'm like, all right, I'm about to kick it, brother opens the door, dog runs out, and my partner, she's coming.
Right.
She's like, oh shit, they're
You're
fighting.
Not responding, right?
Yeah, they're fighting. So she's coming from the back, and she's round in the corner. Well, the dog comes towards her, and like last second pulls out her gun. All I hear is pow. She missed the dog, but it was a quick. It was a quick shot. It was just boom. It was like a split second.
How did the
dog got scared, ran back in the house, and now at this point,
the dog was like, "Well, I didn't know you guys had guns."
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck!"
I didn't know y'all had guns.
I knew y'all had tasers.
Right.
Fuck.
My bad, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, remember all that shit I was talking about 5 minutes ago? My bad, dog.
Well, now this girl heard the gunshot.
Right.
My fucking stomach's down my ass. Like, fucking puckered up.
Right.
Like, oh, fuck. And
this is a cluster.
Yeah, I'm like, shit. This from a 911 unknown. Hang up. I'm like, fuck. Well, now every supervisor shows up.
Of course, right.
Because
it's an OIS, right?
Yeah, shots fired. Well, now the girl's freaking out. You shot my fucking dog. I'm like, no, we didn't shoot your dog. We shot at your dog. There's a difference. Okay? So it didn't get hit.
Ma'am, I know you're a stickler for details. I will concede that I shot your dog the first time.
Yeah.
We shot at your dog the second time. All right.
So she's uncooperative. I'm like, fuck it. Throw her in the back of the car.
Right.
So at this point, I talking to brother like, hey, where the fuck is he? I don't know. He left a long time ago. No bullshit. Either he let us in the house or we're going to get a warrant,
Right.
And he's like, well, what happens if y'all get a warrant? And we explained to him, nobody's going to go back in the house. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. Search it. So we searched the house. It's a fucking mess. And I remember the first time I was there, the back room, it had a lock on it, like a deadbolt. And I remembered it being there, and I'm like, oh, shit. It's like, why is there a fucking lock? Well, the first time I was there, that's my mom's room. Nobody's supposed to be there when she's gone. Okay. Well, this time, I'm searching the house. I'm like, where the fuck's he at? Well, I saw the lock again. Well, I kind of like went to go like peek at the door, and you could see it kind of open up a little bit. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I looked up, and I saw the lock. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just see if I could peek through the door again. And the lock just happened to flop down. I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, that's weird. Now I'm going to search it anyway. So the door's open. So as I'm searching the room, there's a fucking big ass like butcher knife on the bed. What the hell? First thing I notice, and so I'm like, you know what? I'll round the corner. I look in the closet, and it's a big walk-in closet. You know how you can hang clothes on the top and on the bottom, like where it's like draping the floor. Well, he was leaned up against the wall with his hands like and feet like hiding behind the clothes. And I saw him like, hey, motherfucker. I was like, let me see your hands. Don't move. And he's just like, what the fuck did I do? I'm like, well, get up. I was like, why the fuck you hiding? He's like, I didn't do anything. I was like, if you didn't do anything, why are you hiding? Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I was like, if you didn't do anything, you wouldn't be hiding. So we got a APO.
The dog pokes his head in the window like, look.
Hey, bitch, he ain't playing.
You do what you want, Kevin. I can tell you personally, I'm holding up my hands like pause. Personally, okay, I think, it would be best in your best interest. What a fucking cluster.
Oh, my God.
Fuck.
It was... We spent the rest of the day at the PD.
Right. And you gotta deal with him, hook him up.
Oh, yeah. Hooked him up, and the whole time he's like fucking pissed off.
And then your poor shitty AIM, partner, Well, it's good, right?
It was last
Good thing she missed. Yeah. Somebody needs to go back to the range, do a little shooting.
Oh, she did have to do that.
Shooting
the next day. But she qualified. They did make her go the next day.
Insult to injury.
Yeah.
Not only are we investigating you for this OIS, but your shooting was so bad you need to requalify.
And I give it to her. That was a hard, that's just pulling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But they did. They said, here's your one bullet.
Right.
And then tomorrow we'll go to the range.
Yeah. Try to put this through that.
Yeah. That circle right there. Yeah.
What happened with the dog? Did the dog ever return?
Oh, animal control came out there and they didn't help me out at all. Because I'm telling the supervisors that motherfucking dog was aggressive. Like that's why I tased it. And animal control's like, oh, that's Fido. We deal with his ass all the time. Yeah. He's not aggressive. I'm like, oh, but does he normally bark at people like that? Does he normally? And she's like, oh, well, he can seem that way. I'm like, no, motherfucker came at me. I shut him.
Yeah. Thank you for all
that. Yeah. Oh, and the pictures, because they had to take pictures, added to the report, and that dog looks like the nicest fucking dog. It just looks like a...
It has a bow for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what this is? I got you. This is what this is. This is when, the inner city youth leads police on a big chase and gets shot. Then they put his photo. What photo did they put? Graduation picture. Mm-hmm. That's what this was. This was the dog.
Yeah.
With the cap.
Oh, yeah.
The tassel to the left, right? Holding up his, diploma from dog fucking high school, whatever.
Yeah, dog school.
Whatever the fuck. Do you remember your first arrest?
No.
I don't. Yeah. You don't have a lot of time on the job. Were you hit on the head a lot? There's a lot of football. Is that what it is? A lot of head
I
head
think
trauma?
So. That, and I think they call me acoustic.
What does that mean?
Is that like autistic?
Autistic?
Acoustic,
You know what? I'm starting to believe my theory of having been hit on the head.
Yeah.
No, actually, earlier when I asked you about your domestic violence arrests, I said, you said something like, once I'm done, I'm done. You don't take the stories back home.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a good relationship with mental health and the job?
Yeah. I'd say so for the most part. Some days, I'm a little bit more irritable than others, but for the most part, when I get home, people, they make it their whole life of being a cop. Like, oh, I'm going to wear BDUs. I'm going to let
Oh, my friend, you came to the right show. The truck nuts and the blue lines and the Punisher stickers.
Yeah.
All their friends are fucking cops and they watch the cop shows and the blue line underwear,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, coming out soon, by the way, on the NFI store, blue line condoms, so when you fuck, right, and you fucking pop a hole in the thing, right, and then you fucking get her pregnant, the kid comes out as a blue line douchebag. the fucking
it's got to be big enough to fit the condom right?
The kid. Well, look, they make juniors. Oh, you know what? It's the little thing that you put over your cuts on your pinky.
Yeah,
it's that one. I don't get that. I hate where your entire identity is law enforcement. Mm-hmm. All right, so dig this. All right, so I've had young guests come on before, but you're unique in that you're also young, but you packed a lot into those early years. And having these experiences, you're now a little bit outside yourself, right? You don't have to make it your entire life, because you've lived.
Yeah.
So when you say, sometimes irritability, is it the personal life affecting the job, or is it the job affecting the personal life?
I think right now it's a combination of both. Just because I'm in a whole different, like right now I'm in the part where I'm building a house and getting married.
A lot of personal changes.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a lot of personal changes at home, and then with the job, sometimes you deal with dumb motherfuckers, and you're just like,
So you have 8, 10, 12 hours of stress.
Yeah.
And then you have another 6 more.
Yeah, then you live like 2 hours away from home in one way, and then it's an hour and a half.
Well, that's your fault, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's my fault, but it's cheaper where I live.
For living in Somalia, Somalia, Texas.
Yeah, but we get building a house, and it's free land, so.
All right, so how do we deal with this? How do we deal with A affecting B and B affecting A?
I just pretty much have to communicate with, because it's mainly towards my fiance. She does pretty good with listening, and she knows when I'm getting irritable. So it's just pretty much I communicate like, hey, it was a shitty day.
Is she in the business?
She's a nurse, so we're both toxic.
Jesus,
cop sexy, a sexy nurse.
There's not a cliche. That's
exactly. Somebody's beating somebody's ass.
Yeah.
It ain't me.
so it always happens, right? You go for the blood draw, right?
Yeah.
It's late at night, right? She comes in like, I'm just getting shaking that big ass, and you can see the thong through the scrubs. You're like, the doctor will be right here to check you out. You're like, who's going to check you out? Oh shit! You turn off the fuck, right? And you turn to the AP like, you shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
And okay, so. She's no stranger to trauma.
No.
She's no stranger to the stress. But, okay, little volatility that you may have to be prescient of. You both come from these stressful jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Can you unload on her? Can she unload on you? Or are you going to get to, which is the point I got to, right, where I just shut up. My day was fine. I don't want to talk about it.
I shut up for the most part. I let her unload on me. I think I can handle stress better than she. We both live 2 different lives. We've known each other our whole lives. Since we grew up from kindergarten up.
Is that right?
Yeah, known each other our whole lives. 2 years ago, randomly met up.
He was 3, and he was like,
piping. It's like,
look at that fucking, look at the way she's sucking drinks. That juice, that juice box.
Oh, she's gonna get some great head one day.
And he's arranging the letters, on the table like SEX ? Like, hey, like anybody here got a question mark? When you say you have different jobs or different stressors, when you say it's different, just explain that to me.
We just have different lives, and then she does. Are you talking about the job or just like in life?
When you say you have different lives, what does that mean?
We grew up differently. She had a really good family. She had a good household. They struggled, but they had a bunch of assets, and like I came from the hood.
Right.
She came from a all white town.
Suburbia.
Right, exactly. Pretty much she didn't see or know the things that I knew. Like, she'd be like, oh, like, why is he wearing that? I'm like, motherfucker, that's just
right. Yeah.
He just got out of prison. Like, oh, why's he got a Nazi? I'm like, he's a woodpecker. What the fuck's a woodpecker? I'm like, oh, what the fucking, when you go to inside prison and you join a white gang, and then, you have to explain her stuff like that all the time. We'll be watching shows, and she just doesn't have street knowledge.
Is she sheltered? Is that
yeah.
unfair, or is that
no? She's I'd say sheltered.
Sheltered.
Yeah.
Okay. Does she have stress in her career?
A lot. COVID fucked her up.
Right. Like all nurses, right? Who got fucked by COVID. Okay. Yeah. All right. So interesting. Let's talk about this. Why are you with her other than a big old fat ass?
She just matched everything I wanted I'm very picky on the girls I date.
Okay.
And so she just matched.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's bring it back to police. So she says to you, and she unloads on you her day, and you're reticent. What is that in you? What is that quality? Because I had that. He had that. Is that a guy thing? Is that a cop thing? Is that a male cop thing?
Is it a trauma? I think it's a guy thing.
It could be a trauma thing.
Yeah, it could be. To me, I've always felt like and it may be a trauma thing because I think about it. My mom had to deal with a lot growing up, and I'm a mama's boy. And I hated seeing the way my dad would treat her. He'd talk to her like a fucking dog, and that pissed me off. And, and then she would always, she gave up everything for us, me and my other siblings, and she would never buy her clothes, and like I said, just she had nobody to talk to, and to me, I feel like as a guy, like I have to be the one to listen, and I can handle stress better than like I can see my fiance whenever anything gets stressful. I can see her eyes, like it just hits her harder.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be like, okay, like I want to listen to you, but you can't handle my stress and your stress. I handle everybody else's stress at work.
Give it to me.
Yeah,
come on, I'll take it. Come on.
Yeah,
give me yours. Give me yours.
Yeah, let me handle yours. I don't want to give you mine. And so, how was your day? It was good.
It was fine. Yeah, it was
good.
Anything happen? No. It was just usual day. 12 day.
Traffic stops.
Okay. All right. So let's stay on that theme. 3 years on the job. What happens after 15 years? And what effect is that going to have on you? Bringing this all back to police work, mental health. Where's the balance? How do you say to her, or anybody, how do you say, I am stressed and I don't want to take it out on you. I saw a guy die today. I'm not bothered by it. I'm not crying. I don't need therapy. It's just something I saw that I've never seen before. I think that would go a long way towards maybe alleviating some of that burden, because I think the time for you now, Bob, is now, to alleviate some of that burden, and maybe not 15 years down the line, 2 kids, a mortgage, dentist bills,
Too much shit to pay for.
Yeah. And, a little bit of trauma too, right? Because the trauma I experienced as a kid, being beaten, seeing what I saw, you hold up, right? You shoulder up. Then we go on. Now we're in our 20s and we're cops, and we're like, oh yeah, I'm coming out into the world, and we see this thing and we flinch, and we instantly go back into that mode of closing up. And then now that affects our loved ones. It affects the people we police. It affects our administration. And you think that's going to get better or worse?
Honestly, I guess it just depends on how I overcome it. If I do open up, because there's some days, I will, like, I think if it bottles up, I can open up, but it's like little at a time. I let spurts out. Because
we can take a lot.
Yeah.
We can take it. You know who we are? Our guest the other day, we're the U-Haul that he was in pursuit with. I'm like, holy shit, these U-Hauls on fucking 4 rims and it has no engine and it's still fucking going 70 miles an hour. We're that car on the rim still fucking leading the cops on a pursuit. But boy, when we crash out.
Crash hard.
Yeah. And so my, sort of guiding takeaway from this, since apparently he has no fucking stories and, has never arrested anybody in his life before. But my takeaway from this should be that we need to be here for each other.
Yeah.
We're probably never going to talk again. Sorry. It's okay. But no, we need to be here for each other, and yeah, all your friends shouldn't be cops. Well, the good news is we're not cops, but we need to be here for each other, and we need to be able to talk about these things honestly. So I guess what I'm saying is we need to be able to say, I'm not bothered by this. I'm not crying. I don't need therapy. I don't need fucking EAP. You don't have to fucking put me on administrative duty only. I saw somebody burned alive today. Period. End of story. That's it. It's the end of the sentence. It's just something I saw. And I think maybe if we try that, that'll kind of work towards, well, your spouse or future spouse and that wife saying, oh my God, like, how do you feel about that? I don't feel any kind of way, but it's just something I saw, something I wanted to get off my chest, man. Literally getting it off your chest. Well, not literally, but like the figurative, like just, let me just put this down for a second. I think helps.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. Just like you said, just getting it off your chest in general. It's just, you said something, so now it's there. If you ever have to come back to that conversation, it's already opened.
Bookmark.
Yeah.
You're bookmarking the conversation. You're bookmarking your place. And hey, 2 weeks later, hey, how was your day? It was good. Well, I saw another guy, and it reminded me of the guy last week. Okay. People really don't know where you come from. I wish you could make a more instantaneous connection, to let people know, like, I wasn't born with privilege or advantage or a silver spoon.
Yeah.
So when you come from all of that adversity and, drug, substance abuse in the house, do you I'm not asking you if you ever fucking smoked a joint, but I guess what I'm saying is like, oh, you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to go completely in the opposite direction. Was that a motivating factor?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just the fact that, when people don't think you're going to be shit, you really want to be the shit, Like,
not everybody, right?
Yeah.
But for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't feel sorry for people. I have a hard time feeling sorry for people.
You of all people, right?
Yeah.
Don't give me your fucking sob story about how.
Either be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's like, cool. Now turn around and be better. You cry and bitch all day. But what are you doing about it?
What's your primary, or was, as a kid growing up, what was your primary motivation to eye on the prize? I'm not going to end up that way.
Pretty much just the coach I had at the time. I call him my black dad.
Yeah.
He was steering me the right way. He, I guess, grew up in a rougher area, Texas. So
what the fuck is that?
It's West Texas.
Is that in America?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I guess pretty much
it's in the Sudan. Like you ain't heard
of Pecos.
Yeah, we're right next to Somalia. right next door. You met my neighbor. His fucking hut. The Houthis. The fucking tree in his hut grew over into my fence. All right, that's fucking racist. Right.
No.
And so you had this male role model, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Goddamn, how important is that in young men's lives?
No, you definitely need that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. You need that in life. And, it's just an eye-opener. I want to be the dad that my dad wasn't for me. And so that's the motivating thing.
You don't have any kids, do you?
Not yet.
Oh,
no.
Jesus, thank fucking God.
No.
I mean, I'm so glad you're here. And he, this is cool, right? Because he serves as your sports coach, right? Football, right? Yeah. And football and sports and discipline teaches great. But then did he step outside the lines and guide you?
Oh, yeah. He beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
He thought I smoked weed one time out of school. And he's like, hey, where the fuck do you...
Yeah.
He's
you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
On the show,
At the time I was trying to remember the story. We went to go eat Whataburger. Teacher let us leave, or 15 minutes early. Well, she thought we were going to lunch, and we go get some Whataburger. Well, one of the teachers made a room at a small school, so everything gets spread like wildfire. And they said we were smoking weed. Well, he heard that. Get the fuck in my office. As soon as I got back, I'm like, what the hell? And I was a class clown, and I was always acting out, and so I was like, shit, what did I do this time?
Yeah.
And so
just like an IA. Like,
yeah.
He closed the door, Bob. Like, fuck, which time was it?
Yeah, it's like, fuck, who told on
me?
Right. Who told on?
Yeah, it was that asshole from the alleyway.
Yeah, exactly, that bitch. Anyway, so he calls me in his office, and the first thing he does, he punches me right in the stomach.
Holy
boom!
Shit! And how old are you?
Shit, I'm 15, 16. He punches me in the stomach, and then slaps the shit out of my neck, and leans me in, and think of a black man with a gold crown tooth.
Yeah.
He's already scary, fuck.
Yeah.
So he pulls me in. He's like, motherfucker, if I find out you're smoking weed, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you. It's literally what he tells me.
Yeah.
And I look at him, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He goes, why the hell did I get told you were smoking weed? And like I said, he just kept me on track.
Right, yeah.
And even though I didn't, he's like, all right, well, if I find out, I'm going to beat your ass.
That was enough to put the fear of God in you.
Yeah. And I knew he'd do it.
And so, still in touch today?
Oh, yeah. He's coming to my wedding, so.
Proud. He's got to be proud.
Oh, yeah. He walked me out on all my senior nights and everything.
Look at you.
Yeah. Got a little black in me.
Yeah. Well, in the good way, right?
Yeah.
In the good way.
However you want to take it.
He was in trouble, a long time ago. Well, maybe a little county time, and you're set down this path where you have your these life changes coming up. Your spouse is going to be, in a very stressful career, or is in a stressful career. We talked a little bit about mental health and kind of getting your footing in patrol. What's the goal? What are we going to do with our lives?
Honestly, I'm just taking it day by day. You never know when your last day is going to be. It could be on the job. It could be just anything. Just heading home, and it's just a normal car accident. I live an hour and a half away. Mm-hmm. My goal is just to pretty much, I don't have career-wise, is just to do my 20 and, go from there.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Is your mom proud of you?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of went the complete opposite, right? Kid out of turmoil, and now you get to defend people and put on your cape.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thanks so much for listening, subscribing, and sharing. Please rate and review the show and follow us on all platforms. You can hear us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Our website is nfipodcast.com, YouTube at NFI Podcast, and please reach out to us at podcast@nfipodcast.com. New episodes released weekly or whenever I feel like it. Help us spread the show, tell us what you think, and put a buddy on. I'll see you out there. Stay safe, and remember, do your job.